Hi everyone, welcome back to another video. It is still spooky season here, so I decided I wanted to do a look surrounded around my favorite scary but not so scary movie, Scream. I'm of course going to be using stiletto shaped nails, but you can use whatever shape you want. I absolutely love stiletto nails and I feel like they're just made for any Halloween look. So to get started, I am removing that little tip that's sitting on the top of the nail, and then I'm going to be taking a buffing block and removing the shine from the nail. So since we were shaping and filing, there's going to be dust that gets everywhere. So I'm taking some acetone and removing it from the nails so that my polish application is nice and smooth. I'm actually going to be making some red bottom peekaboo nails. So I'm taking this bright red from D&D and applying this to each of the nails. At this step, you really could use whatever color you want. I wanted to still keep a Halloween vibe, so I decided to choose red because it reminds me of blood, and with Scream, there was obviously a ton of that. But I don't like super gory nails. I like them to still be my style and then kind of simple but cute. So this is my way of getting that Halloween-like vibe on these nails. Once I'm done, I am going to cure in my lamp for about 60 seconds. Okay, so here is what the first layer of polish is looking like. It looks fine on the top, but I'm going to actually flip these nails upside down to make sure that the red is evenly distributed. So as I flip these over, you can see that there's little spots towards the bottom where the red is very transparent. So I am going to go ahead and apply a second layer. Anytime you're making peekaboo type nails, you always want to do this step because from first glance looking at it at the top, it looks perfectly fine. But then you'll see when you flip it over, it's not as opaque as you may want. I know it may not seem like a big deal because technically you are going to be applying these onto the nails and the bottom you really may not see, but just for keeping things consistent, it's just best to apply another coat. Here is what 2 coats of this polish is looking like on the underside. And now you no longer can see that transparentness underneath the nail. So that's why it's very important, even when you're making press-on nails, to flip the nails upside down to make sure everything is consistent all the way around. Next, I'm taking this black polish. This is another polish by D&D and applying this to each of the nails. So the red that I have underneath here, I'm okay with it looking slightly darker in hue. If you are not and you want the red to stay the exact same shade, I would recommend applying a white before applying the black. And the reason why is because the white is going to basically act as a barrier between your dark color and your red so that it doesn't change the hue. I really do love this black, but if I apply it too thick, it is not going to cure with my lamp. So I'm making sure to apply the thinnest layer possible. So I can still see a bit of red under the black, so I'm going to apply a second coat. I think pretty much with any black you use, you're going to need to apply 2 coats because your layer should be very thin. So next I'm going in with my favorite reflective gel polish and applying this to each of the nails. Now you can probably notice here that the base of this polish has a blue tint, and that's not really a big deal because I've already laid down that black. So once it cures, you really can't tell that it's blue, it still looks black. This actually came in a set with about 6 different colors. I did post a YouTube short to this. If you want to see the swatches for the other colors that came in this set, you can watch that here. And I really recommend it. The set was not expensive at all, and the colors are just so beautiful. I just love, love, love these polishes. So here are what the nails are looking like right now. If you wanted to, you can stop here and throw a top coat and be done, but I really want to draw Ghostface, so I'm going to place him on the ring finger. Next, I'm grabbing a black polish as well as a white, and I'm going to place them both on my palette. I am going to be laying my white at the very top and then my black at the bottom, leaving some space in between the two. And the reason why I'm doing this is because I'm actually going to mix both of these colors to create a gray for the shadows of Ghostface's face. So Ghostface can actually be drawn very simply with a dotting tool, and I'm actually going to be starting off by making a guide. So I'm first going to draw a dot at the top and then one at the bottom, and this is going to be the length of his face. So the top dot will represent where his face will start, and the bottom dot represents where his face is going to stop. Once we have those dots, we are then going to create two dots that are diagonal from each other, and these are going to represent his cheekbones. I'm going to start off by doing this on the right side, and then I'm going to move on and do this to the left side. Once all the dots are drawn, I'm then going to play a game of connect the dots like we used to in the comic books back in the day. I'm drawing his head first, so I'm going to connect the top 3 dots together, making a oval type shape. So once I'm done drawing his head, I am going to move to the bottom and begin drawing his jawline. So I know this looks a little bit weird, but you have to remember Ghostface's jawline is so obnoxiously exaggerated, so we have to make it super abnormal and long. So we're going to create the jaw by connecting the bottom 3 dots to one another. None of these lines are perfectly diagonal and straight. You want to make sure you're moving your brush in a swooping type motion to get those rounded corners. Now we're going to finish up by making his cheekbones, and we're going to do that just by connecting the last 2 dots. One thing about Ghostface is he does have an amazing bone structure and fire cheekbones. I mean, they're nice high and they protrude outward, so we want to exaggerate the cheeks as well. Once we have the outline, I'm going to take my white polish and start filling this in. So I just realized I drew him upside down. So I'm going to erase this with some alcohol and start over. And here is what it looks like the correct side up. But I already have the dots laid out, and I thought this would be great to show again so you can get an idea of what the dots will look like once they are all placed on the nail. So you'll see the starting points of where his head will start and where his jaw will end, so you can get an idea of the length he's going to be on the nail. And then we have the points where his cheekbones are going to be on the side of the nail, and then we're just going to connect everything all together. So I'm pretty satisfied with the outline of his face. I'm going to start filling this in. Now, if you go outside the lines like I just did right here, it's perfectly fine. You can always clean everything up with alcohol because nothing is cured and set in stone just yet. So don't freak out if you do. You can also take your liner brush and round out any of your edges, fix anything that you want to fix. If you want his cheekbones to be more protruding, if you want his head smaller, bigger, more rounded, whatever you want to do, this is the time that you can do it. So here is what he looks like all filled in. I'm pretty satisfied. I wish I could make his cheekbones a little bit wider because I'm obsessed with his cheekbone, but this is going to be good enough because the nail is really not that big. So next we're going to draw his facial features and give him some life. I'm taking this dotting tool again and I'm beginning to draw his eyes. So to draw his eyes, I'm really just making these swooping type motions. They don't have to be perfect. Remember, his eyes are very droopy because they just are. So don't worry about them being perfectly oval, perfectly shaped, because he is really not perfect at all. So I'm pretty satisfied with the way his eyes are looking. I do want to clean up just a little bit on the bottom part, so that's what I'm going to do. I'm taking my flat brush dipped in acetone and I'm cleaning up the lines. If you are cleaning up any of these dark lines, use acetone over alcohol because acetone gets it off very quickly and it doesn't smear it super hard. Alcohol smears it the worst you can imagine. So little tip there. Okay, I'm good with the way he's looking, so I'm going to flash cure his eyes in place for about 15 seconds using this small gooseneck lamp I have on my desk. Next, we're going to move on to his nose, and taking that dotting tool again, I'm taking the other side, which is very tiny, and I'm putting 2 dots next to each other, and then I'm going to put a smaller dot on top, making what looks like a triangle, but with the dotting tool. So next I'm going to create his mouth. I am not curing the nose in place because I want to make sure that I'm drawing the mouth and the nose symmetrical to one another. And in case I make it really wide or whatever I do, I want to make sure I can go back and correct that. But what I'm doing to draw his mouth is I'm placing 2 dots, one at the very top where I want his mouth to start, and one at the very bottom where I want his mouth to stop. And I'm just connecting them, and I'm making an oval shape with my dotting tool. As you can see here, I did make his mouth a little weird, so I'm gonna clean up the lines with some acetone again, and then I'm going to flatten his nose out a little bit. Ghostface's nose is not super pointed, it's very flat. So because he is technically a skeleton, right? So we wanna make sure that we flatten out that nose ever so slightly. So I'm satisfied with him, and I'm going to flash cure him in place as he stands, or as he screams. So I want to add just a little bit of dimension here. So this is where I'm going to create my gray on the palette. What I'm doing back there is simply just moving the black and white together, mixing them to create a very, very light gray. And this gray is going to be the shadows around his eyes. So if you look here, you can see that his cheekbones are very protruding, and basically his eyes droop down to his cheekbones kind of hard. And so to give the illusion of those drooping eyes, I am going to put some gray around his eyes. So I'm not the best of the best at drawing characters, so this is the most beginner friendly Ghostface you'll probably find here on YouTube, but I love the way he came out. I'm to cure him in the lamp for about 60 seconds, and then I'm gonna move on to top coat. So I'm gonna be using this top coat by Koopa because it is one of the glossiest top coats I own, and I'm gonna apply this to each of the nails. So here are what the nails are looking like with top coat. They look so good. And look at Mr. Ghostface here. I really love him. I'm so excited to put these on today. So let's go ahead and do just that. So here is Mr. Ghostface all done, completed, right on my nails. And I love these nails. They're very simple. If you're not into doing very intricate Halloween nail art, but you just want to participate, I think this is a good look to try. So if you enjoyed today's video, make sure you give it a thumbs up. And then if you're not subscribed to my channel, make sure you are. And I will see you in this next video here.